Remember that we all contain within us and act out with others family patterns and unresolved issues that are passed down from many generations. The less we know about our family history, and the less we are in emotional contact with people on our family diagram, the more likely we are to repeat those patterns and behaviors that we most want to avoid. Remember the old adage, what you don't know won't hurt you. Well, research on families just doesn't support that one. Rather, it is the very process of sharing our experiences with others in the family and learning about theirs that lowers anxiety and helps us to consolidate our identity in the long run, allowing us to proceed more calmly and clearly in all of our relationships. But my parents won't talk. Well, gathering family data is a skill that can be practiced and learned. How you do it determines what you get. The courageous act of questioning. Pick an emotionally loaded subject in your family. The hot issue may be sex, marriage, cancer, success, fat, alcohol, or Uncle Charlie. If it is a hot issue with your mother, for example, chances are you feel angry and clutch inside whenever the subject comes up. Perhaps the subject rarely comes up these days because you have taken a strong, I do not want to talk about it stance. Your courageous act is to stop reacting with your anger long enough to open up a real dialogue on the subject by sharing something about yourself and asking questions of others. Your task in questioning is to gain some perspective on what has occurred in the previous generations that has loaded a particular issue to make it hot. Only by gathering the broader family picture can you replace your angry responses towards family members with empathetic and thoughtful ones. Let us take a couple of specific examples. Suppose that one hot issue in your single status. Every time you go home, your mother gets around to taking a jab at your unmarried state. What is your task? First, calmly share something about where you stand on the subject. For instance, Mom, I can see that you are concerned about my not being married. To tell you the truth, there are times when I feel concerned about it too. At this point, I don't know if I'm scared of commitment, if Mr. Right just hasn't came along yet, or if I don't really want to get married. I'm not clear about it yet, but I'm working on sorting it out. If you are an underfunctioner, guard against presenting your problem as if you are just a bundle of weakness and vulnerability. If you are an overfunctioner, try not to make it appear as if you have it all together and don't need anything from anyone. Second, open a dialogue with your mother about how the issue of female singleness versus marriage has been experienced in her family. Block advice giving and other fix-it moves by clarifying by clar- by clarifying that you are not interested in solutions right now, but in your mother's own perspective and experience. You might then ask your mother any number of questions, such as, I've been wondering, have you ever struggled with the question of whether marriage was right for you? And if so, how did you reach a conclusion? Or, what worries do you have about me if I don't get married? Or, if you yourself hadn't married, how do you think your life would have gone differently? What sort of work would you picture yourself doing? Or, what was your mother's attitude about marriage and how would she have reacted if you had stayed single? How would your father have reacted? Or, how did each of your parents react when Aunt Ruth didn't marry and worked on her career instead? Or, who in our extended family has not married And how have they fared in your eyes? Questions like these will allow you to break the old communication pattern, reconnect with your mother in a more mature and separate way, detoxify the marriage issue by getting it out from under the table, and learn more about yourself and your family history. You may also learn about alternatives the family has found acceptable in the past and prepare your mother for a greater range of outcomes in the future. Now, suppose that the hot issue for you in your family is your mother's ignoring your intellect and achievements and focusing on the successes of your brother. Again, your task would be to share some difficulty you're having in the area and then to ask your mother to help you out by sharing more about her own experience and perspective.